Hey everyone, it's Nightlight 9. Had a great Thanksgiving yesterday, and now we are back at it. So, I want to talk about the new banner, and specifically, I'm going to approach this from a little bit of a different point of view. I don't have a strong opinion on whether or not you should pull. I think you're going to have to make this decision for yourself, but I will tell you what I'm doing and kind of go through what I think about, the costume and Kuja's Spirit Blade. So for the Spirit Blade, I think this is a great weapon. I will say that. It's great. The fact that for 4 ATB, you can decrease magical and physical attack for all enemies, mid-potency, even at 5-star, just right out the box, mid-potency magic and physical attack down, that's awesome. And 20-second duration, that's good too. I was really wondering if they were going to make the duration, something around 20 seconds, or if they were going to do something closer to 10 seconds, just because of the fact that it does so much. Although it's not going to be a big damage weapon, this is clearly just to help round out Sephiroth, make him a debuffer if that's something you're going for. Here's my opinion on this. I think it's a great weapon. I will tell you right now, I'm not going to be pulling on this banner, and I'll get to the reasons why in a moment. But if you don't have Tiger Fangs on Tifa, if you don't have leather gloves, especially if you don't have either one, if you don't have Tifa or maybe Barrett or somebody set up already to do to be a debuffer for your team, then I think this is almost a must pull. However, where it gets a little bit tricky is, I know myself and probably a lot of you have Sephiroth set up to do DPS as a main DPS in a lot of cases. So I know for me personally, sometimes I will run him with Cloud as dual DPSers, but more than not, I run him or Cloud. And the reason is, I pulled on the Halloween banner to get the Wind Arcanum, and I have, Edged Wings and his costume that gives the ice bonus. So I have him set up, if I need to do ice damage, if I need to do wind damage, that's what I'm using Sephiroth for. And generally speaking, if magic attack works well, I'm using him for that as well. Because of that, I think Kuja's Attire is pretty good. Boosts magic potency by 10. I mean, out of the box, that's a 15% bonus to magic ability damage. However, this is where I'm torn, right? I'm not personally going to pull to get a whole stamp card clear just to get this. I'm just not, because most of the time I plan on either having his wind outfit or his ice outfit on. That's how I plan to use him at the moment. I'm kind of fulfilling niche roles with each of my units. I have Cloud for water, even though he's not the best because I didn't get his garb when that was out. I have him for lightning as well. And so I've got 4 elements sort of covered. I also have Tifa for wind. Basically, I've got wind, water, lightning, and ice all set up. Now, on to Kuja's Attire. To me, this is good. I do think it's good. And I think especially if you do not have his Halloween costume, if you don't have his Halloween costume and you didn't get his ice costume, then I think this is extremely good, because essentially, this can kind of fill the role and it's more versatile. It's not as out of the box good, but it is more versatile. And I think that this would go a long way if you plan to use Sephiroth as a damage dealer. So I think that's good. The Spirit Blade, like I said, I'm using him as a damage dealer, and I'm not free to play, but I'm also I'm not even a dolphin. I think I've got about $100 total into this account at this point, maybe about 110. And the only thing I've bought in the last 2 months has been the season pass. Right? I bought this a week ago. So with that in mind, knowing that I'm trying to save these crystals, I'm really going to do what I said in my last banner review. I'm saving them up. I'm only going to go for trying to get weapons, get multiple copies of the weapons I want to go for, unless I see something that I think is game breaking, or, at least something that's going to completely define the meta. And I just don't think that either of these do. Another plus on the Spirit Blade is if you do have Tifa set up for debuffs, but you would like her, maybe you pulled hard and got a lot of Amaranth's Claws or something along those lines. If you want to set her up for damage in fights that need a debuffer, well, Sephiroth can step up and do that. Let me say, there are multiple ways to strategize around this game. And the way that they are doing these weapons, where they are starting to make it to where everybody can do everything, right? I don't know if that's 100% true at the moment, but that is becoming more and more true with every banner. Especially if you're free to play or a light spender, if you're not somebody that can decide they want to pull, on every banner if they needed to, then you really you're going to have to take some risks, and you're going to have to start thinking how you want to set your team up, what you want your individual characters to do. And I do not foresee myself using Sephiroth as a debuffer, although I think he's pretty good at it. I mean, he's already got several buffs as well, right? The event weapon that we had not too long ago, the Torn Wing, he can boost defense for a single ally. That would pair well with this if you're wanting him to be a completely utility character, for example. That's not what I've invested in with him. The weapon that I've invested the most in on Sephiroth was Edged Wings, because I wanted him to do damage. I pulled on the Halloween banner because I thought, maybe this wind plus 20% is the best thing we're going to get for a while. And that's where I'm going with Sephiroth. I put him in to do damage, not to debuff. So I'm not going for it. But that doesn't mean that can't benefit your account. The other thing I don't particularly care for is the boost ability potency on it. I think boost ability potency is fine, but I compare this to, for one, it doesn't stack with the costume. Boost magic ability potency is different than boost ability potency. And the way I like to compare these is the difference between boost attack and boost magic attack or boost physical attack. Usually when you're building somebody, you're trying to build them to do a specific thing. And although boost attack is nice, usually when I'm building a character and a team loadout, I'm looking more for the boost physical or the boost magical, because there's a bigger boost when you're only boosting one thing. And most of the times, when we're setting up our parties, the way that I see it a lot of times is, if I look, at my Ruin EX1 team, right? If we go through them, you can see that I've tried to set people up. Okay, I wanted Barret to do physical attack. I don't care what Barret's magic attack is almost whatsoever. Sure, it helps on the limit break, but I'm really looking at his physical attack here, right? Same with Glenn. I'm trying to look at his physical attack. I don't have nearly the best weapons for Glenn, so that's why these are a little bit closer. But, those are the things that I'm looking at, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. Especially you can see if I go to my single people here, the way I've set up Cloud, I'm going for a physical attack build here. And so that's what I'm doing. And if I'm using Sephiroth, I'm probably going for, magic attack stats, right? So you can see there's big disparities usually in those stat numbers. And because of that, I value single ability buffs more than broad buffs. And one of the things I do plan on coming out with in the future is an R ability tier list, so to speak, or at least grading or ranking the R abilities as far as my preferences for them. So when I see, okay, boost magic attack, great. But then instead of magic ability potency, it's just ability potency. I don't find that nearly as useful. And I definitely don't find it as useful on a debuffing weapon. It sends kind of mixed signals. Same here with attack boosts. It's like, if I'm running this, I'm probably not setting him up to do a lot of attack damage. I'm probably setting him up to do debuffs and stay alive. Maybe even setting up some sort of healing ability or something like that on him. I mean, obviously, he can be a secondary damage dealer, but even at OB6, this is only 480%. So I just don't think this is ever going to be a big move that you're trying to deal damage with. So that's what I think of this banner. Like I said, the reason I'm not pulling, I'm trying to save up crystals, ideally to 50 to 60k, before I decide to pull on a banner. Everything in me expects that there to be a big, I don't know whether it's another crossover or just an amazing banner, something at Christmas. I think that would only make a lot of sense. I want to be prepared for that. If I summon on this, even to get like, I could summon to try to get one copy of the weapon. I don't think that's a bad idea either. For anybody who wants to do that, I'm taking a bit of a gamble because I have my Tifa set up to be able to do these things. And time will tell whether or not that was the right gamble or not. I'm skipping this one, but I think for a lot of you, this will be a pull. But only you can really decide that based on, you know, what are your feelings about what's coming up and what kind of team can you already set up, or how are you setting up Sephiroth now? If you thought this video was helpful, subscribe for future content. I'd also be very interested to know how your pulls went if you decided to pull and the reasons for that. Other than that, thanks for watching.